I made my friend fail med school. My roommate Justin and I are both med students, trudging through the brutal gauntlet of exams, late nights, and endless caffeine. We've been living together for 2 years, forming a bond over shared struggles, the kind that comes from surviving on 2-hour naps and countless energy drinks, while striving to save future patients. Last week marked the climax of it all, our final year exams. By the last day, we were both running on fumes. It was about midnight, and Justin decided he needed a quick nap before the morning exam. "Wake me up at 3 a.m., he asked, planning to squeeze in some last-minute studying before the test. I stayed up a bit longer, trying to cram more into my exhausted brain, but by 2:30 a.m., I was fading fast. Before crashing, I shook Justin awake. "Set an alarm," I said. "I'm about to knock out, and I can't promise I'll wake you up again." He sat up groggily, mumbled, "All right," and flopped back onto his bed. Assuming he'd heard me, I didn't think twice about it. The next thing I remember is sunlight streaming through the blinds and Justin yelling my name in a panic. My alarm had gone off at some point, but I must have snoozed it without realizing. It was 8 a.m. Our exam was in an hour. Justin was losing it. "Why didn't you wake me up?" he shouted, yanking on his clothes like a man in a burning building. I blinked at him, still half asleep. "I did," I said, explaining how I'd woken him up to set his alarm. "You're lying," he shot back, clearly furious. I was stunned. Did he not remember? Maybe he'd been sleep-talking when he answered me, but I knew I'd done my part. There wasn't time to argue. We threw on our clothes, grabbed our stuff, and raced to the exam hall. For me, the test wasn't a total disaster. I managed to push through and answer most of the questions. But Justin, he was a mess. He left the room looking crushed, shaking his head and muttering under his breath. Later, back at our apartment, the blame game started. He said he'd failed, and it was because I hadn't woken him up as promised. "You let me down," he said, the hurt in his voice cutting deeper than the accusation itself. I tried to explain again. I had woken him up, and I couldn't control what he did after that. But he wasn't having it. He's convinced I failed him as a friend. He's convinced that if he doesn't pass, it's my fault. And maybe he's right, in a way. I could have stayed up, made absolutely sure he got out of bed, and sacrificed my own rest. But part of me feels it's unfair to pin it all on me. Med school isn't easy for either of us. We've both carried our own burdens, and we've both slipped up at times. Now, I'm left wondering if our friendship will survive this. I don't know if Justin can forgive me, and honestly, I'm not sure if I should even feel guilty. It's a bitter ending to what should have been a moment of triumph for both of us. And as I sit here, replaying the events in my head, I keep asking myself the same question. Could I have done more, or did we both fail each other in the chaos of that final night?